It was the kind of love story that Hollywood dreams are made of. Two international stars, burning bright at the peak of their fame, colliding in a whirlwind that felt more like fate than chance. But behind the flashbulbs, the stolen glances, and the red carpet embraces, there was something far deeper, more twisted, more tender, and more controversial than anyone dared to fully unravel. Penelope Cruz, the hypnotic Spanish actress with a gaze that could melt steel, and Tom Cruise, Hollywood's eternal leading man with a grin as famous as his stunts, were more than just a couple. They were a storm waiting to happen. Because this wasn't just a romance, it was obsession, attraction, and rebellion all wrapped into one. And while their love burned fast and bright, it left behind smoke, secrets, and questions no one has fully answered to this day. This is the untold story of Penelope and Tom. The chemistry, the rumors, and the kind of passion that doesn't fade quietly. They met on the set of Vanilla Sky, a film drenched in surreal emotion and mysterious longing. It was art mirroring life in the most seductive way. Penelope played the elusive dream woman, and off-screen, she quickly became just that for Tom. At the time, he was newly single, fresh off a shocking divorce from Nicole Kidman. The world barely had time to recover from the collapse of that iconic marriage before Tom appeared next to Penelope. His eyes lingering on her in a way that didn't need translation. They were magnetic from the start. Not loud, not flashy, but undeniably drawn to each other in ways no script could contain. On set, their scenes crackled with unspoken tension. Behind the camera, it was even more intense. Whispers among the crew spoke of flirtations that turned into long conversations in her trailer, and of quiet dinners away from the chaos, where the line between acting and reality blurred more than anyone expected. Penelope was different from anyone Tom had been with before. She was fiercely independent, deeply spiritual, and unafraid to challenge him. He was captivated. But it wasn't just affection, it was fascination. He admired her strength, her mystique, her refusal to be tamed by the industry or by him. But with Tom, love rarely comes without gravity. And for Penelope, the pull was real, but so was the weight of it all. Soon the tabloids caught on. Every touch between them was magnified. Every glance became a headline. The chemistry they once kept quiet was suddenly public property. But still, they said little. Let the world guess. Let the mystery feed the flames. There were moments, though, when the curtain slipped, photos of Tom gazing at Penelope like she was the only woman in the room, of her resting her head on his shoulder in a way that felt less like posing and more like surrender. He would bring her to premieres, her arm tucked tightly into his. She rarely spoke of their relationship, but when she did, it was always with that faraway look, like she was remembering something too sacred to describe. But it wasn't all passion and fairy tale moments. Soon cracks began to show. Behind the scenes, people whispered about control, about how Tom's world wasn't just about love, but about structure, image, and something far more complicated: devotion to a belief system that didn't align with Penelope's heart. There were rumors. Some said she was asked to consider joining his spiritual path, to walk a road that many claimed had been paved with expectations rather than choice. Others said she pulled back, realizing that the cost of that kind of devotion would be too much, that her soul, her fire, couldn't be boxed in, even for love. There were those close to them who believed that Penelope loved him deeply, but quietly feared losing herself in the intensity of his world. That while their passion was real, the future he wanted wasn't hers to chase. Still, they stayed together for nearly 3 years. 3 years of red carpets, private getaways, and the kind of connection that made people believe. But in the end, it wasn't enough. No scandalous breakup. No dramatic tell-all. Just silence when asked later. Penelope never attacked him, never revealed secrets. She simply said, "It was a beautiful time. We were very good to each other." But behind those words was a world the public never fully saw. Nights spent whispering dreams. Long drives through LA with hands intertwined. Arguments that ended in deep embraces. A love story that, for a while, felt like the kind you only get once. Years later, fans still search for answers. Was she the one that got away for Tom? Was he the love she couldn't quite hold on to? Or were they simply two stars that burned too hot, too fast, and couldn't survive the weight of each other's fire? Even now, when they are brought up in the same sentence, the old spark flickers in the public's imagination. Because some stories don't need a happily ever after to feel eternal. Some just need to be remembered. They may have walked away from each other, But the heat of Penelope Cruz and Tom Cruise still lingers in the air. Not because they stayed together, but because what they shared was never meant to last forever. It was meant to burn bright, to consume, to change them. And sometimes the most unforgettable love stories are the ones that end with a whisper, not a bang. This was more than romance. This was temptation, obsession, and a bond that, even if unspoken, has never fully disappeared. Stay tuned for more untold love stories that live between the lines, only on Top Facts.